What's up, Cowboys Nation? Welcome back to the channel, your one-stop shop for all the latest and most exciting updates on America's team. Now, before we get into today's bombshell, let me remind you to hit that like button, smash subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss a single moment of what's shaping up to be one of the most thrilling off-seasons in recent memory for the Dallas Cowboys. Now, let's talk about something that has Cowboys fans buzzing like never before. The Dallas Cowboys might be getting ready to pull off a major move, one that could absolutely shake up the entire NFL. We're talking about the possibility of the Cowboys signing none other than Maxx Crosby, the star pass rusher for the Las Vegas Raiders. Yes, you heard that right. This isn't just some off-season rumor. Sources are saying that talks are happening, and the deal could be done before we know it. So let's dive into this developing situation and break down what it would mean for the Cowboys if they manage to land one of the most feared defensive players in the league. To understand why this move could be so significant, let's first talk about Maxx Crosby himself. The Raiders' defensive end has been absolutely dominant since entering the league, and if you've watched any Raiders games, you've probably seen him wreaking havoc on quarterbacks and offensive linemen alike. Crosby isn't just a sack artist, although he's certainly one of the best at that. He's a true force in every aspect of the game. In 2023 alone, Crosby registered 12 sacks, 18 tackles for loss, and 40 total tackles. But it's not just the stats that make him such a dangerous player. It's his relentless motor and ability to impact every play. When Crosby is on the field, he's constantly making his presence felt. Whether it's chasing down quarterbacks, disrupting the pocket, or blowing up plays in the backfield. And at just 26 years old, he's already considered one of the premier pass rushers in the entire NFL. Now, let's shift focus to the Cowboys. Over the last few seasons, Dallas has built one of the most exciting and dynamic defenses in the NFL, led by Parsons, the reigning Defensive Player of the Year. Parsons has been absolutely sensational, and there's no doubt that he's one of the top pass rushers in the league. But every team knows that a defense can never have too many pass rushers. As talented as Parsons is, having another player who can consistently get after the quarterback could make this defense downright terrifying. Imagine Crosby on the opposite side of Parsons' offensive lines would have to pick their poison. Would they double-team Parsons, leaving Crosby in single coverage, or would they focus on Crosby and give Parsons more room to operate? The possibilities are endless, and it could completely transform the way opposing offenses game plan against the Cowboys. It's no secret that the Cowboys have been looking to make their defense even stronger this offseason. While their defense was already one of the best in the league last year, adding an elite pass rusher like Crosby would put them into another stratosphere. But here's where things get interesting. While the Cowboys have been quietly building one of the most fearsome defenses in the league, the Raiders have been in somewhat of a rebuilding phase. With the organization undergoing significant changes over the past few years, it's become clear that they're in the midst of a long-term rebuild, and their roster is far from complete. The Raiders have a lot of work to do if they want to contend in the AFC. And unfortunately for them, that means some of their star players might become expendable. Crosby, for all his talent, could be one of those players who gets moved if the right offer comes along. It's not that the Raiders want to get rid of him, but if they're not contending for a Super Bowl in the next few years, they might decide to start building around younger, cheaper players. And if that's the case, a team like the Cowboys, who are right on the edge of Super Bowl contention, could swoop in and make the Raiders an offer they can't refuse. So, what exactly are we hearing behind the scenes? Well, according to multiple NFL insiders, including the likes of Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport, the Cowboys have been in contact with the Raiders about a potential trade for Crosby, and these talks are reportedly heating up. In fact, Sources close to the situation say that the Cowboys have already made it known that they are prepared to offer a significant trade package for Crosby. Now that's where things get really interesting. What would it take for Dallas to land a player of Crosby's caliber? Well, you can bet that it's going to take more than just a handful of draft picks. The Raiders would likely demand at least a first-round pick, along with potentially a player or two who could help them in their rebuilding efforts. The Cowboys, for their part, are in a unique position because they've been stockpiling assets in recent years. Between their strong roster and their recent success in the draft, Dallas is one of the few teams that can afford to give up multiple draft picks in a trade like this. Plus, let's not forget that Jerry Jones, the Cowboys' owner and general manager, is no stranger to making bold moves when the situation calls for it. If Jones sees Crosby as the missing piece to a Super Bowl run, he could very well pull the trigger and make this deal happen. Now, let's talk about the impact of adding Crosby to the Cowboys' defense. It's almost impossible to overstate how transformative this could be. If you thought Dallas had one of the best defenses in the NFL last year, adding Maxx Crosby to the mix would take it to a whole new level. For starters, the Cowboys' pass rush would be absolutely terrifying. You've got Micah Parsons on one side, who can line up anywhere and create havoc. And then you've got Crosby on the other side, who's one of the most polished pass rushers in the league. Offensive lines would be forced to choose who to double-team, which would allow Parsons and Crosby to wreak havoc on quarterbacks and disrupt the opposing offense in ways we haven't seen in years. And not only that, but Crosby's ability to set the edge in the run game would be a huge boost for a defense that's already been stout against the run. With the addition of Crosby, the Cowboys' defensive front would become one of the most complete and balanced units in the league, and they'd be able to dominate both in the passing and running games. Now let's talk about the bigger picture here. The Cowboys have been knocking on the door of a Super Bowl appearance for the past couple of years. Each year they've gotten closer and closer but have fallen short in the postseason. The addition of Maxx Crosby could be the final piece that puts them over the top. With the defense already in elite form, adding Crosby would give them a dynamic pass rush duo that would make opposing quarterbacks' lives miserable. And when you factor in the Cowboys' high-powered offense led by Dak Prescott, there's no reason to believe that Dallas couldn't be a serious Super Bowl contender if they make this move. The NFC is wide open, and with Crosby in the fold, the Cowboys would have one of the most complete rosters in the league. As exciting as all of this sounds, we have to remember that nothing is set in stone just yet. Talks are ongoing, and there's still a lot of work to be done if the Cowboys are going to close this deal. But make no mistake, the interest is there, and both sides are motivated to make something happen. Jerry Jones has never been one to shy away from big moves, and if he sees an opportunity to land a player like Crosby, he's going to go all in. So what does this mean for the Cowboys? Well, if they can pull this off, they could be looking at a defense that's even better than the one we saw last season. The potential for Crosby to join the Cowboys is absolutely tantalizing, and it could make them one of the most dangerous teams in the NFL heading into the 2024 season. But what do you think, Cowboys Nation? Is Maxx Crosby the missing piece to take Dallas all the way to the Super Bowl, or is this just another off-season rumor that will fizzle out? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I want to hear what you think about this potential move. And as always, make sure to hit that like button if you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on all the latest Cowboys news and updates. I'll be back soon with more news and analysis, so stay tuned. Thanks for watching, and until next time, go Cowboys.